Hello everyone, my name is Lucius Sula of sonofhell.com, and I come to you today to put forth an idea. I was watching Sargon and Milo's conversation video when Sargon said that he wanted a hashtag that people of various identities, ideologies, and political views could gather together to stand for freedom of discussion, rational thought, and above all, liberty. Sargon talked how, while effective within its realm of accountability of the media, Gamergate has pretty much reached its limit. Gamergate was about games and games journalism, and while the ideals of Gamergate should spread beyond mere gaming, it could not be the social hashtag of the future. I would like to put forth my own idea for an appropriate hashtag and explain my reasoning behind it. Hopefully Sargon of Akkad or Milo will see this, consider my points, and perhaps spread the idea about. That hashtag is hashtag social freedom. Today we live in an increasingly totalitarian society. More and more voices, often crying out in the name of justice, speak in terms of authoritarian rule, or ends that would eventually lead to authoritarian rules. Voices are silenced, discussions are ended before they begin, and people's lives are ruined by false and malicious labels or allegations. Most of these authoritarian voices gather under the banner of hashtag social justice. The reason social justice has proven so potent a rallying cry for those of the authoritarian voice is because it is easy to defend and easier to destroy an opponent arguing with them. Don't you believe in justice? How can you believe in an unjust society? Now, social justice's view of what justice is has proven quite useful for authoritarian aims. The just and equal distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges within a society means that one can easily take from the rich their privileges and give them to some other more deserving or unprivileged group. In order to create an equal society, in this case a society of equal outcomes, the strictest control of society needed and warranted as to prevent that most pernicious creator of inequality: choice. More specifically, free will, freedom of choice. In any society where people are free to choose their own fates, they will choose the ones most pleasing to them in some way. This, however, will inevitably lead to inequality, as often certain groups of people move in the same direction, either for cultural, genetic, psychological, or other reasons. This, then, is social freedom. This is something that must be protected, even though this might lead to unjust outcomes in terms of wealth or representation in professions or society. But social freedom is more than just freedom of choice in terms of careers. It is also about the ability to speak one's mind, to believe freely in what one chooses. Social freedom is ultimately about diversity, not the stagnant, carefully crafted diversity of social justice. Social freedom is about true diversity of ideals, religious and non-religious, liberal or conservative, independent or tribal. It is about people being able to come together and discuss what makes us different or what makes us the same, and do so not with personal attacks or silencing, but with honesty, liberality, and respect. One of the greatest things that happened with hashtag Gamergate is that it embodied these things. People of all walks of life came together because they loved something, in this case video games, and saw what happened when authoritarian voices believed themselves above ethics, above other human beings, and acted to make the world into their authoritarian image. And we saw all these separate peoples come together to fight against the corruption that had taken over the games journalism industry and was working to crush the gaming industry itself. But most importantly, what they were fighting for was the freedom of their hobby. To be free to make the games it wanted to make the characters it wanted to make, and the way it wanted to make them, regardless of if those games were deemed problematic, offensive, overly violent, sexist, and so forth by those who believed in hashtag social justice. The truth is, freedom is offensive. Free speech is often speech that is hateful to those who do not agree with what is said. Free actions are often actions that are offensive to those who do not agree with those actions. Freedom offends those who do not believe that people should live or think in ways that are not in agreement with them. But in many ways, a free society is better than a just society. While equality and justice is an ideal worthy of consideration, and equality under the law is the basis of any decent society, and indeed any free society, the truth is that it is better to be free in all things rather than equal in all things. If everyone lives lives of slavery, then all slaves are equal. But in this case, equality is the opposite of freedom. In a just society, as put forth by social justice, is a society of slaves, in which each person ultimately loses their freedom of action in order to maintain equality of outcomes, so that all groups can have an equal representation of outcomes and privileges. But in a free society, as could be put forth by social freedom, means that every person is free to live the life they want, even if that means that their pre-assigned group does not have equal representation or privileges in society. It puts the needs and desires of the individual above their collective identity, and ultimately puts the needs and desires of society above authoritarian desires. And while this might lead to differences in which groups possess wealth or privileges or are represented in media, this is still ultimately better than a society based purely on quotas and the enforcement of those quotas. Ultimately, though, we face the greatest discussion of our time. Through history, the idea has always been that freedom and equality are one and the same. Now, though, we find that the authoritarianism ideology has discovered the weakness in equality. We have stood by equality in terms of freedom, equality under the law, equality of opportunity, rather than the authoritarian ideals of equality of outcome. But the term equality, like justice, has easily been co-opted. So there is to me but one choice. We do not call for justice. We do not call for equality. We simply call for freedom. Because in a society that is free, equality and justice will flow forth naturally. If every person's voice is to be heard, then all people are equal. If no voice can be silenced for being offensive or problematic, then all voices are equal. If all people are free to choose to follow their dreams, rather than it be demanded that dreams be deferred for the sake of equal outcomes, then we will achieve a closer level of equal outcomes, and in a better way than if that equality was enforced. And if people do not live in equal measure or with equal privileges, those measures and privileges will in truth be justly gained, because they were earned by hard work, luck, and a person's choice. I believe that what was started in #Gamergate must continue, and that both liberal and conservative can agree in a free society is the best society, because ultimately the only ones who cannot believe in a free society are authoritarians who believe that society should not be free but must be ordered. And just as #social justice proponents can and do scream, "Do you not believe in justice?" we can have the most powerful response against them. Do you not believe in freedom? #social freedom. Leave your thoughts below in the comments, or come talk to me on Twitter at Lucius_C_Sula, or come visit my blog, sonofhell.com. I want to thank everybody for their time, and please consider my words today.